Quiet Night In by Jill Murphy. I want you all in bed early tonight, said Mrs. Larch. It's Daddy's birthday and we are going to have a quiet night in. Can we be there too? Asked Laura. No, said Mrs. Larch. It wouldn't be quiet with you lot all charting about like a herd of elephants. But we are a herd of elephants, said Lester. Smarty pants, said Mrs. Larch. Come on now, Cotton, it's time for school. That evening, Mrs. Larch had the children bathed and in their pyjamas before they had even had their tea. They were all very cross. It's only 4:30, said Lester. It's not even dark yet. It soon will be, said Mrs. Larch grimly. After tea, the children set about making place cards and decorations for the dinner table. They all tidied up. Then Mrs. Larch tidied up again. Mr. Larch arrived home looking very tired. We are all going to bed, said Lester. So you can be quiet, said Laura. Without us, said Luke. Shh, said the baby. Happy birthday, said Mrs. Larch. Come and see the table. Mr. Larch sank heavily into the sofa. It's lovely, dear, he said, but do you think we could just have our dinner on trays in front of the TV? I'm feeling a bit tired. Of course, said Mrs. Larch. It's your birthday. You can have whatever you want. We'll help, said Luke. The children ran to the kitchen and brought 2 trays. I'll set them, said Mrs. Larch. We don't want everything ending up on the floor. Can we have a story before we go to bed? Asked Luke. Please, said Lester. Go on, Dad, said Laura. Just one. Story, said the baby. All right, said Mr. Larch. Just one then. Lester chose a book and they all cuddled up on the sofa. Mr. Larch opened the book and began to read. One day, Pinkie Bus drove out of the big garage. Hello, he called to his friends. Mickey Milk Float. I don't like that one, said Laura. It's a boy's story. Look, said Mr. Larch. If you are going to argue about it, you can all go to bed. You can all go straight to bed without any story. So they sat and listened while Mr. Larch read to them. After a while he stopped. Go on, Daddy, said Luke. What happened after he bumped into the Danny Dust Guard? Did they have a fight? Asked Lester. Look, said Laura. Daddy's asleep. Shh, says the baby. Mrs. Larch laughed. Poor Daddy, she said. Never mind. We'll let him snooze a bit longer while I take you all to bed. Will you just finish the story, Mum? Asked Lester. We don't know what happens in the end, said Luke. Please, said Laura. Story, said Baby. Move up then, said Mrs. Larch. She picked up the book and began to read. Watch where you're going, you silly dust guards, said Pinkie. Just then, Pip the police car came driving by. And after a while, Mrs. Larch stopped reading. What's that strange noise? Asked Lester. It's Mummy snoring now, said Luke. Daddy's snoring too. Oh, they must be very tired, said Laura kindly. Shh, said the baby. The children crept from the sofa and fetched the blankets. They covered Mr. and Mrs. Larch and tucked them in. We'd better put ourselves to bed, said Lester. Come on, shall we take the food up with us? Asked Luke. It's on trays. Oh, it's a pity to waste it, said Laura. I'm sure they wouldn't mind. Anyway, they wanted a quiet night in. Shh, said the baby. And off they went. The end.